Welcome to Can I Park Here? Brought to you by findafashiontruck.com. Nashay and Estrell's mission is to inspire future and existing small business owners. They don't claim to be experts. They're simply trying to figure this all out, just like you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Can I Park Here podcast that could be found on startafashiontruck.com. My name is Nashay, and I'm here with
Estrell.
Hey guys, before we get into the show, I just wanted to let you guys know if you are a fashion truck owner and you are thinking about selling your fashion truck, remember to email us at hello@findafashiontruck.com. And for a very low fee, you can, have a classified ad on our website for a month. So if you're interested, please let us know.
Now, I have to say, I absolutely loved this episode. We chatted with Sarah, owner of Poppies Boutique in Tennessee. Her accent is so freaking adorable. I just could talk to her all day long.
And she gives some amazing tips. Now, I feel like each episode this season, they're just building off of each other, right? Like we started off with someone who just started out, and then a year, and then 2 years. And then, last week, someone who's been in business for years, but only the mobile boutique for 2. And she is a unique situation too, because she's technically been in business for 4 years, and she just started her fashion truck a year ago. It just goes to show you too that you can accomplish this at any age, because I feel like we've had people on here, that are in their 40s, and, we have someone again on here that is in their early 20s. So it doesn't matter, what age you are, what state you're in. If you kind of have that moxie, that hustle in you, this can really be done. So I think you guys will really enjoy her story.
And speaking of hustling, this girl hustles so hard. Her and her husband, let me tell you. So in addition to the mobile boutique, they now have 2 storefronts. And this has all happened within the last year. So it just so happens that the area that they're in, there's a real need for, stores of, that sells the things that she sells. So of course, why not capitalize on that, right?
Yeah.
But 2 stores and a mobile boutique, that's crazy.
And amazing.
Right. Crazy and amazing.
A good cray.
Right. So, but if you want to hear more about it, here we go.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have Sarah here from Poppies Boutique in Tennessee. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Can you tell the listeners a little bit about you before you purchased the trailer?
Sure, I'd be happy to. It's really hard to remember life without my trailer. It seems like there was nothing before that. I'm very young. I got my trailer when I was 21 years old. I was still in college. So I started my freshman year of college, and I really wanted to go on a mission trip to Haiti, and I'd always loved to sew and create things. My specialty was headbands and headpieces for any kind of bohemian type style, or especially babies. I loved making headbands for babies and mommy and me look-alike type styles and jewelry, and I did monogramming, and I did custom boho vintage looking headbands, and so it just kind of exploded. I started making all these things in hopes to raise money for a mission trip. Well, the mission trip kind of passed by, and I really didn't want to stop. I had found that this hobby that I wanted to make money had turned into a passion, and I loved meeting people. At that time, I was just going to small craft fairs and shows, and I was 18 at the time, and it kind of slowly changed into clothing and accessories, and I still love to make things, but it's gotten so busy that it's hard to be a maker and a festival goer at the same time with a fashion truck. But we found that at lots of festivals, it rains. So we prayed about it and thought about it. We gave it a lot of thought and crunched some numbers, and we were like, let's get a mobile boutique. I had seen a couple previously before in a box truck, and I wanted something a little different. So the next morning we got on Craigslist Nashville and found a 1968 Airstream It was completely hideous. It was molded and had leaks in the roof, and the floor was basically completely gone. And when I took my family to look at it, like my pride and joy, I was so excited that I had bought this. They were like, okay, I think she's finally cracked. I think she's gone crazy. So we bought that in July of 2015, last July, and we fixed it up in a month. We did all of the renovations ourselves. And we love traveling. We travel all around Tennessee. We're about to travel to other states as well within the next coming years. And it kind of just all started with wanting to raise money to go on a mission trip. And I found a passion that I loved. So it kind of happened accidentally. And now I've graduated college. I majored in nothing to do with fashion. I'm supposed to be a high school English teacher right now, but I'm working my fashion truck. So I absolutely love it. And it's my dream. And you never know where you'll end up, if you just follow your heart and, just go for it. And that's what we've done. So far, so good.
Wow.
Neat. So you started this a year ago. So you're still fairly young, like early 20s.
Yes, I'm 22 right now. I've been married for 2 years. I got married as a baby at the age of 20. And me and my husband, we do it together. He's an accountant, so he does kind of the books and the marketing and that kind of thing. And I'd actually been traveling in a tent since I was 18, just setting up at small craft fairs. And I would actually go to different people's offices and homes and set up in their living rooms, and they would invite 10 or 20 friends over, and we'd eat and they'd shop. And so it turned from a small little table to a 24-foot Airstream camper. So it grew really quickly. So I've been doing craft shows, festivals, and barn sales. There are a lot of barn sales here in the South for about, 4 years now, but it just turned into a fashion truck just this past year. So it's very new. I learned something new every single festival and show and stop that we go to. But it's a work in progress. It's definitely a lot of hard work, but it is so worth it.
Do you mind sharing how much you paid for the trailer?
I don't mind at all. With the shape that it was in Tennessee, Airstreams are a little bit more rare. As you go toward Texas, Airstreams are a little bit more predominant and easier to find there. It was really hard to find one under $15,000, and the guy who sold us ours, he wanted $5,000 for it because it was in such bad shape. We did get him down just a little bit, but it was when we tell people what a deal we got for it, considering we got it for under $5,000, I'm like, okay, I know it's an antique camper and we got a great deal for it, but there's a reason that it was so inexpensive because no one else in the world probably wanted it. So I saw a diamond in the rough, and we have completely remodeled it. It's so funny. We would invite friends over and say, hey, do you want some pizza? And then we put them to work in the...
Oh, you tricked them.
And really, family and friends, once they saw our vision, they just all kind of jumped in and they wanted to be a part of it. So being from the South and with that Southern hospitality, we're definitely close with our friends and family, and they love to come and help us work at different shows or just wear our product. And we try to make it a really personal experience shopping with us. So, and that was a whole part of making the Airstream itself. We have pictures of our family inside and different, and I really wanted to make it true to the time era that the Airstream was built. It was built in 1968. So, we kept the original paint color inside the Airstream. It's like a Tiffany blue, and then it has what I thought was hideous, like wood molding, like it's fake plastic wood, but we kept some of there. And we've just kind of put bumper stickers on it. We really made it kind of a junk gypsy type style, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And we put old furniture in there from the 60s. We've got old radios in there and lamps, and it's a really groovy type feel inside. So that's what we wanted to keep it to. So once our family saw the vision, they fell in love with it. And I think everyone who goes in the Airstream falls in love with it. We really want it to be a great, positive, memorable experience when you visit our pop-up shop. So
now, what's the ceiling height of a trailer?
The ceiling height is approximately 7 feet, I would say.
So,
I have to raise the floor a little bit. I might say a little bit less than 7 feet because some people have to kind of, especially the men who come in, kind of have to kneel a little bit.
Right.
But it hasn't really been a problem since most of our clientele is women. But a lot of men just want to come take a look if they're a camping junkie. You know, we have a lot of people just wanting to come in and take pictures inside. So it's 24 feet long. It's about 8.5 feet wide, and then it has a very ugly window unit, AC unit off the side, which adds about a foot. We're working on that. And it's about, I would say it's about 6.5 feet tall inside. So an average height person can shop comfortably.
Okay. And then, so, I was looking on like some of your social media sites. And so did you have them set up before you purchased the mobile boutique? And so, because I see you have like about 4,500 people on Facebook and 2,000 people on Instagram. So I was just curious if you've been working on that for the last 4 years or if that's like since 1 year ago.
Well, it's a funny story, actually. I've had those sites or those social media sites for the endurance of my whole business the past 4 years. And I had about maybe 500 followers up until I got the Airstream. And as soon as we launched the Airstream, when we posted pictures and announced our schedule of where we'd be going that fall, in the first day, we gained over 1,000 likes.
Oh, wow.
And I was just completely flabbergasted and humbled. I was like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? And I don't think we realized what it would be, really. There aren't really a lot of mobile boutiques in small towns like mine. There's one maybe an hour from me, but other than that, I think that people were just really fascinated with the fact that it was a camper. So I was really proud in our choice of using a camper, it's funny. This is a little side story. My name Poppies comes from my grandfather. He was my favorite person. Everybody called him Poppy. So I wanted to name it after him. He was an incredible businessman and he loved to camp. So that's one reason why I chose a camper, but it's been great marketing. It's like a big silver bullet going down the highway. And we've gained a lot of followers just from different festivals, from different giveaways we've given, and the Airstream itself is great marketing. So
yeah, because I was going to ask you, especially for the listeners out there that are just starting or plan to start maybe next spring, I'm sure they would be interested in like how you got people to engage with you. So giveaways is great. And I guess maybe you just told people that came into the trailer like, hey, follow me.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll try to put together like maybe a gift. We do gift cards with our Airstream because we also have 2 storefronts as well. So when we give out a gift card, it's good for our storefronts and the mobile boutique. But we'll do a little gift card giveaway, or if you like us on Facebook, you get 10% off your purchase today. We just want to make sure people are really plugged in to know where we're going next so they can be our customer again. So that's been very, very cool. Facebook, it's awesome. It's free. Right. we've done some sponsored ads, kind of in moderation when we really want to get the word out. But really, if you have a following fan base and they learn to share your things, and if you give them incentives to, like your page and share certain things, it really does help. It makes a huge difference in the following that you have and we'll see different people because our shows right now are within like a 50-mile radius of each other. In Middle Tennessee, we'll see the same people come to each show that we're at, or just pop-up shop wherever we are. We'll have the same fan base at each one. So that's been very helpful.
What made you want to transition into selling clothing?
I feel like a lot of people sell clothing, and I really hated to jump on the bandwagon, but I love clothing. And it seemed like, selling accessories alone, you have to make a lot of accessories to fill up a 24-foot Airstream. Yeah. There's only so many you can make. So I kind of had an idea in mind of what style went with what I was already making. And so I just kind of followed that because I thought, hey, if people like this headband, if they find a cute shift dress to match, they'll probably buy both. So it was kind of more of a business decision than anything, but it also turned into a passion as well. And before I did do upcycled clothing with my headbands and jewelry, I would put doilies on, denim jackets or, just strange little quirky things that people ended up liking for some reason. But it kind of also got to be a time thing. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to make everything that you're selling. And so I kind of needed an outlet to where I could still pick out what I wanted and pick out the styles that I wanted to be associated with my business and not have to spend so much time making everything because it is so time consuming. So that's kind of where clothes came in. And my customers were asking for clothes. They were like, why don't you sell clothes? And I was like, I guess I'll start, give the people what. So that's exactly what I did. And it was a great decision. So we're actually working on right now. We love to design our own line of clothing that's made in America, designed by me and a few friends. So we're working on that right now to get more of a handmade feel in the Airstream as well.
Nice. Now, you mentioned that you have 2 storefronts. When did this come about?
Well, my passion is traveling. I love meeting new people, but my husband saw that every time that we would set up a pop-up shop in a local, hair salon parking lot or restaurant parking lot in our hometown of Smithville, Tennessee, that we would do excellent, that people would say, man, I wish you would come here all the time and set up, or I wish you were here every day. And he said, hey, let's give the people what they want. Let's try opening a storefront. So we had a family owned some property that was commercial property. So we rented from them. We had an agreement with them. And we opened our first storefront here in our hometown this January. And it absolutely exploded. I guess that in a very small town like ours, where the population is like 8,000 people, the need is there because in our town, if you want a gift, if you want a cute outfit to wear to a wedding or an event, you have to travel at least 30 minutes out of town. Mm-hmm. And we really wanted to cater to those people because we saw that when we would pop up at different places in our town, that people were buying gifts for people were buying special occasion outfits, things that they needed. So we really wanted to meet the needs of our hometown and support that. And so far, it's gone great. And then a neighboring town about 45 minutes from us, we know that that's close, but we saw the need there as well. And our storefront there is on their downtown square. So that makes it a little fun area. Lots of people walk. They have huge festivals there. So we just opened that storefront this July, and it has gone great as well. So we don't want to be like a general store or anything, but we definitely kind of function as that for a lot of people in these small towns. In Tennessee, just so they can get a cute necklace for under $20 for a gift or, things like that. We hate for people to have to travel out of town, and we love to give them the opportunity to shop local.
Now with 2 storefronts and the trailer, who works where?
That is an excellent question. Thank God we have found some excellent after school high school girls to work, and we have 2 day managers that are wonderful, and they actually one does our photography and one makes a lot of our jewelry now that's handmade in both of our stores. So we've definitely found 2 great assets with that. And as for the Airstream going out on the road, I really like to be, and I don't mean this conceited or anything at all, I really like to be the face of the business because no one runs your own business like you do. Mm-hmm. And if I'm out on the road meeting people and marketing my business, I want to be the one doing that. I want to have a hands-on approach to that. So I'm always with the Airstream no matter what. And we normally don't take it out during the week, like Monday through Wednesday. We'll take it out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm in the store in the early part of the week and then out on the weekends.
Okay.
So my life is crazy. Yes. But it's fun. I don't feel like I'm working because it's what I love to do. So it's been great.
No, that's like awesome success. Now, were you able to use like the funds from the mobile boutique to pay for the stores, or did you had to like get some assistance or take out a loan to do it?
We did a mixture of both. When we were taking the Airstream out for our first season with the Airstream was fall of last year, which, as y'all know, probably fall shows are everywhere. We love fall because everybody else loves fall too. But we kind of used the funds from the Christmas shows that we did that year. We had to take out a small loan just because we didn't want the Airstream to be very bare and we didn't want the store to be bare. We never want anything to look picked over. So it wasn't really a big deal. We've already paid it off. But yeah, we kind of used the Airstream funds to pay for our first store, and then the funds from the Airstream and the first store to pay for the second store, if that makes any sense. So we really wanted to space it out so that it wasn't like a huge chunk and it hurt us or anything. You know, we wanted to be wise with that decision.
No, that completely makes sense. And I was just asking for people who are trying to strategically think about how to maybe move from a mobile boutique to a store or vice versa, and just things they need to think about, like how do you get enough inventory for both places, Right. So I think that's would be really helpful.
One of the most helpful things has been if we get something in the store that might not be quite selling to our clientele that comes to the stores, we can put it in the Airstream and get rid of it there. It's a great way to quickly move merchandise. So now we switch merchandise between store number 1, store number 2, and the Airstream. So we move merchandise very quickly and have a big turnover with that. So it's been very helpful in that aspect.
I know that you clearly love working with the Airstream and the stores, but do you ever have any intentions on doing the teaching gig?
If I ever needed to, if an economic crash happened, I would definitely have that option. But as long as the Airstream business is going great and the stores are going great, I am in for life because I feel like it's something I'm in. I love traveling and meeting new people. I love the food that's at festivals where we park. And I love just the whole atmosphere. Like even the other day, my husband Hunter and I, we were talking, we were actually driving the Airstream somewhere, and we were just running around like chickens with our heads cut off. We were crazy, and we had 1 million people calling us, and we were probably running late, and because we always are running late. And I said, I would not trade this for anything. I love it. I said, I know that we have a lot of extra stress that comes with our job, but at least it's voluntary stress. So I'm glad that I have that to fall back on, but I really don't see me doing it anytime soon.
Now, as far as like figuring out what to purchase for your store and for your truck, do you only do online wholesalers? Are there wholesalers in Tennessee that you purchase from? Is it a combination of the two?
It's a combination of the two. I would much rather see and touch and feel of what I'm about to buy. So there are several people that will come by my store that I have good relationships with that I'll buy from and I'll order on the spot. But a lot of the boutique clothing, I'm planning on going to Atlanta or Dallas market, but truth be told, I've been doing this for a year and I've never been. I've heard that it's very overwhelming. And so what I've kind of done is, and this may be helpful for someone starting up who can't go to market, I kind of looked through my closet. Before I started my mobile boutique, I was definitely a small town boutique shopper. So I always loved shopping local. So I kind of went through my closet and saw the brands that I knew I loved, that I knew washed well and were great quality and had lasted me, that I felt good in. So I looked at those brands and I would see if they had a wholesale website online to order from. So at first I did kind of a practice run with those brands and saw the quality, and I kind of wrote down what I liked and what I didn't like about those certain things. And now when I'm ordering online, just from experience, you can kind of tell what's going to be a winner and what's not going to be. And I know that sounds so weird, but once you've been doing it for a while, you can kind of tell what's going to be a dud and what's going to be a really good seller. So people gasp when they hear that I've never been to market, but I kind of am trying to avoid it because I think that I can go haywire. I don't think my brain can consume all that is at market. So just ordering online. And I actually have a lot of friends in the area who make certain things, and I love to showcase them as much as I can and have a local spotlight.
Now, how do you determine how much of any item to buy too? I think that's what people struggle with because they're like, do I buy 10, 20 or whatever and then have to end up with 10 that I have to put on sale next spring or whatever because they don't sell? Like, how do you make that determination of like the quantity?
That is seriously probably the hardest thing about ordering because some things I'll order like one pack of and I'll get 6 or 12 and I'll think it's the ugliest thing in the world and it sells in like 2 days.
Right.
I'm like, what's wrong with you people? But what I'll try to do is I really try to be really up to date with like Pinterest, and I look at a lot of magazines and what I feel like I would buy if I went into a boutique or if I was at one of these festivals and saw a mobile boutique. And I've never gotten more than 18 of anything just because I feel like that's a safe number. I'll also look at the price. And if I have to mark it down to sell it, if I did order too many, I don't want to be like completely cutting at a loss from there. So if it really depends on the price, if I do have enough wiggle room to mark things down. And it also depends on what the latest trends are. I try to think of like the next season. Another thing that I try to think of, and this takes a lot of time and a lot of research, and I also need to improve upon this, but I try to look at the area where I'm going with my fashion truck. And I've kind of learned my clientele, like at some places I stop, I have more of the 50 to 60 year range with women, and in others I have 14-year-olds to 24-year-olds. So I try to think of where I'm going and what is my clientele there and what would they want, what are 24-year-olds in this part of the state wanting, because seriously, I don't know if y'all have ever been to Tennessee, but from Smithville to Franklin, Tennessee, Franklin is 2 hours from here. The styles are completely different and my clientele is completely different. So I've kind of figured out what styles to order. And if I know I'm going to have a lot of teenagers, I'll order 20 or 18. But if I know that I'm going to a place where it's going to be more 40 and 50-year-old women, I may only order 6 or, a different style type of that particular item. So I hope that helps somebody because it's taken me a year to figure that out.
Right.
I was like, why are these people buying these bralettes? And I'm like, oh, because 50-year-old women don't want bralettes,
Right.
The 14-year-olds want bralettes, so or bandos or whatever, So it's taken me a whole year to figure that out. It's not rocket science.
But that would be difficult, because each area is so completely different. So I guess you just have to like mix it up and just always keep different types of merchandise available.
Exactly, because some parts of Tennessee are super hipster, not trying to stereotype people at all. I love all people, but more hipster, like bohemian. And then where I'm from, Smithville, it's completely preppy and they love the TriStar things. And, in other areas, more East Tennessee, you better bring some UT orange because all they're buying is for the Tennessee Vols. So
wow.
It really just depends on where you are and your age clientele, because believe it or not, I have a lot of people 60 and over shopping my Airstream. One, because they identify with the Airstream and the whole nostalgia of it, and 2, a lot of elderly people love to go to these festivals like with a club or with their friends, and so I really have to have a spectrum of clothing and prices that appeal to 14-year-olds to 64-year-olds, and that's completely okay. That's one thing I love about my business, but it's just now taken me that long to realize what I need. And another thing that has really helped my business is having plus sizes in my Airstream, because I don't know. You see different people and everybody wants something, and I want to be able to cater to that. So I want to have something for everyone that'll make them feel good. And so we carry up to size 3X in our Airstream. And I found a lot of boutiques around Tennessee don't carry plus sizes. So that's a big shock to people here. And I make sure I have a big sign on the outside. We carry plus sizes. So that brings a lot of people in.
Do you find that the price points vary too? Like what people are willing to pay depending on what area you go to? Does that change, or for the most part, has it stayed consistent?
It's kind of both. And I was going to say, if I'm talking too much, y'all just let me know, because I'm a preacher's daughter and I can talk all night. So y'all just shut up when you're ready. But it's funny because here in Smithville, obviously it's a smaller town. Our price point needs to stay under $50, around $50, under $50. Now, I traveled to a town about 2 hours from here, and my prices were at $45, $50, and they thought that I was a thrift store truck because they said I was so inexpensive. So I literally had to raise my prices there. People were not buying my things because they thought they were secondhand. And
oh, wow.
I know, it was crazy. So the next day of the festival, I came back with brand new price tags. I felt horrible. I was like, I've never done this, but I have to sell something here. And so I changed all my price tags, and people still thought that I was inexpensive, but I almost sold out that day. Like, it was amazing, just because they thought that my prices at first were so low that I was a thrift store. And I was like, no, these are new clothes. And so the next day I just raised the prices, maybe even $10 an item. And I started to sell. So,
well, I think because it depends on kind of the demographic and where you are. But like, let's say if it's if you're in an area where people are used to paying a little bit more, if they see something too cheap, then they're like, if they don't think they're like vintage or from a thrift store, they may think like, oh, if I put this in the washing machine, it's going to fall apart.
Exactly. People were thinking it was damaged or cheaply made, and I was like, no, these are real. I had to convince people, how nice these clothes were. And the next day when I raised my price point a little bit, it completely catered to the demographic there. So we've kind of learned which festivals to do that with. And at first I felt so guilty for doing that. But then I was like, people are just expecting a certain thing, and that's okay. So that's what we did, and it worked. Funny, right?
It's crazy.
In Tennessee, how are the parking regulations? Did you have to get any special licensing or anything like that when you first got your trailer?
It really depends on the town. Of course, we went to the county clerk and got tags and registration and all that good stuff figured out. But in very small towns like mine and surrounding counties in Tennessee, they really don't have any kind of regulations. Now, in bigger cities like Nashville and Knoxville, you're going to have to get a parking permit unless it is an event. If they're having a festival on the square or downtown, you just pay for your booth spot, and that's fine. We do have our tax ID and everything displayed in the Airstream so people know we're legit. So we always make sure to do that. But other than small towns, you just go to the courthouse and get a day or 2-day permit, and it's not a big deal. You have to pay like $15, maybe $25. So it's not bad at all. It's nothing really to be concerned about.
Okay. And one thing that most mobile boutique owners struggle with is insurance. Did you have a hard time trying to secure insurance for the trailer?
We did. We actually found, and I'm not sure if they're nationwide or not, but it's a firm called Erie Insurance. Have y'all ever heard of Erie?
No.
It's a local firm, but I think that they're kind of like State Farm, or they have other branches, but we went to our local representative. And because really State Farm and Nationwide and a lot of those, they would insure campers, but they wouldn't if someone was going to be shopping in like a commercial camper. So that was a huge problem. So we finally found Erie Insurance. I don't know if anybody can look them up online. It's EERIE, like Lake Erie Insurance. And we have everything inside our Airstream insured, and it's really not that expensive considering the policy that we have. We have the actual Airstream insured. If something happens to it, if someone slips and falls while inside, that's covered. And also, if our trailer were to unhitch from our truck or our SUV, if it hit another car, we're covered. We said to our insurance agent, anything bad that you could possibly think could happen, covered. Because seriously, when you're dealing with a 50-year-old camper with like 2 tons of stuff inside of it, I do not want a lawsuit with that. So
Right.
it's definitely worth the money. I can lay my head down at night before we travel somewhere and not have extreme anxiety. And it really wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be. We did go ahead and pair our tags with our car, with our camper together, both as commercial. And we also paired the insurance together. So just in case the Airstream was to ever damage our car while pulling it. Anything bad that you can think of, we're covered. So, because, if it's raining outside and somebody steps up onto our step and slips and breaks their pelvis, that's on us. And we do have watch your step signs, watch your head, be careful. We tried to put that in the cutest way as possible. I'm pretty sure our sign outside says, watch your step, y'all.
And so part of that particular part of the policy would be under liability, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, do you remember if you have anything called inland marine under your policy? Because I know that a couple people in our private Facebook group, they mentioned that they have inland marine coverage in addition to commercial and liability.
We might. I can't tell you 100% for sure.
Okay.
What is that?
I think I'm not exactly sure. That's what I was going to ask her.
Oh, I was like, what is that?
Pages thick.
To do more with contents that are in motion as you're traveling.
Yes, those like our clothes inside that are in motion.
Right.
That's all covered as well. So, like, let's say our roof in the Airstream had a leak and all of our clothes were damaged and molded, we would be covered for that as well.
Okay.
Or if the roof flew off while we're in motion and clothes were flying everywhere on the freeway, we're covered for that too. So I gave them a bunch of weird scenarios and was like, are we covered for that? Are we covered for this? And they were like, will you please leave? You're covered for everything. So.
Well, that's amazing that you are able to find like an insurance company to cover it. Because clearly, I mean, you could tell in the Facebook group, like people are struggling with that. It
took us 4 months to find someone who would insure us. And so we were driving this thing around with our contents uninsured. And of course we had signs and everything and assured people to be careful, but I was a nervous wreck because we Googled it. We went to every place in town and no one would insure it. And so finally, if anybody needs the contact information for Erie Insurance, I'm pretty sure that they're at least in the South. They have been so helpful to us.
Well, we just have a few wrap-up questions just to help the audience get to know you a little bit better. Do you have a favorite podcast, blog, book, or TV show? And if so, what is it?
Oh, my goodness. As every Southern girl loves Fixer Upper and Chip and Joanna Gaines, I love those people. What's not to love, right?
Right.
We actually went to the Magnolia Silos this year, which was awesome. My husband and I, we love The Office. We kind of feel like sometimes our life should be filmed because so many crazy things happen to us. We love to watch that show. I love any kind of fashion blog. I don't particularly follow any one. I love Find a Fashion Truck. I really do read your or see your podcast a lot. I love them. So I'm super honored to be on here today. This is going to sound super nerdy, and I promise I'm not money hungry at all because I love what I do, and Lord knows that when you first get started, you don't get paid for it. I love Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He was a guy who followed around Henry Ford and Thomas Edison and all these successful entrepreneurs of the early 20th century and wrote down everything that they did successful. And it has been super helpful to my husband and I, you know, along with family and friends being so supportive. If you've got your family and friends behind you, gaining followers on Facebook is a piece of cake, let me tell you. And with lots of prayer and lots of friends and family, and we've just been very blessed with it. So, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that's been a really big help to my husband and I as well, just with little success tips. And even when people say you're crazy, you know, that book has really kind of encouraged me to keep going. So
follow your dreams.
That's right.
Ignore the haters, right?
Exactly. And, you know, really, we haven't had many people give us a hard time about it, but because it's like they fall in love with the concept. I'm sure that you guys have found that too with talking to other fashion truck junkies. So people just seem to love the concept, and that really makes it helpful with having such a support system when you do see all those followers on Facebook and Instagram, you know, cheering you on and everything. So it's been really great. It's been surreal for sure.
Now, if you could have any celebrity, entertainer, model, athlete, whoever visit your mobile boutique, who would it be?
That is the easiest question to answer, and that's Dolly Parton. I am obsessed with I'm going to see her in concert next month, and it is on my bucket list. I have my bucket list written out on a huge chalkboard wall in my house, and one of them is to meet Dolly Parton. We actually, in our first run of our clothing line this month, I did a Dolly Parton themed shirt. She is so classy. She is truly a diamond in a rhinestone world. And I love what she does for the community. I love what she does for the world. And I would be super honored. I don't know if I have anything blingy enough for her to wear. Right. Because she certainly likes to bling it up. But I would probably faint if Dolly Parton stepped into my mobile boutique.
Well, we will make sure to tweet at her and let her know that she needs to stop by.
Totally. She's not that far from me. We live about an hour and 45 minutes from Pigeon Forge, where she's from. So
there's no excuse. No excuse, darling.
I will drive straight to her.
And then what do you like to do in your free time to wind down and de-stress when you're not running 3 businesses?
It's hard to get away. We're actually going on a cruise this week, but praise the Lord. We got to go out of town where there's no phone service to get away from the business. But
that's good. Sometimes just unplugging is what you need.
Yes, just completely getting away. It's so hard. It's almost like we don't have any children yet, but it's almost like when you have a kid and you're away from it for like 2 hours and then you're like, oh, I miss them. That's how I feel with my business. But it's super hard to get away. But my husband and I love to watch Netflix movies. We love to spend time with family. We love having family game night, and we play card games and we play Uno, and everybody gets mad at each other when we hit a draw 4 or whatever. And we're also very involved with our church and our community. I sing and do the music at my church. So we love to go to church and just jam out with people. And we just love to be around people in general, but we also love our me time and just kind of chilling, binge watching Netflix too. So we love to walk our dog. We do have a dog child. We take him for a walk every now and then just to get away from everything. But we're really simple people, down to earth type people. People think we're busy all the time, which we are, but we love to just lay in the bed with some popcorn and turn on The Office or Shark Tank or any of those shows. So and we really love to sleep. So
sleep is good.
Yes, you get tired doing all these shows and waking up early and going to bed late. But probably most of all, we enjoy our family time and just enjoying, because we both have huge families and we live very close to our families. So that would be our number one thing.
And then are you Android or iPhone? And what's your favorite app?
Oh my goodness. I used to be iPhone. I have an iPad and a MacBook, and I just recently switched to Samsung, and I love it. Camera is amazing. I love my camera because I take so many pictures. And right now, no judgment, my favorite app is called Bitmoji. Don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Girl, I comic myself all the time and send to people, especially my employees. I'll send the Like a Boss one. That's my favorite. And we really like to be fun with our employees. And we have a meeting. We call it Poppies meetings. My employees are called Poppies Peeps. They're not my employees. They're my peeps. And we'll go out to eat once a month, and I send them Bitmojis all the time. But my husband and I love to harass people with Bitmojis constantly. So instead of texting with words, we use comics. So that's pretty fun. That's my favorite one right now. But I am addicted to Instagram. Absolutely. I can't help it. What about y'all? What's your favorite app?
Oh, I don't know. I'll let Nashay answer because she's like an app addict.
I know. It's like, how good. I mean, I wrote an article. I mean, if anyone ever wants to see it, you go to startafashiontruck.com and just search 50 apps, because I did like my 50 favorite apps. But I guess if I had to pick one, like I have a serious addiction to podcasts. And so there's this app called Cast, and it's CASTS. And I usually use that to subscribe to all my podcasts and then tee up different episodes and download them beforehand. But, you know, I listen to it when I'm in traffic in the morning and traffic in the evening. So that is probably one of my most used apps. If I had to pick one.
Download it for sure.
Yeah.
I think mine would be Evernote.
Oh, that's a great app. Yes.
You use that?
Yeah, all the time.
I'm shocked.
Really?
Because she always says, all I need are Post-it. So I'm like, really? You use Evernote?
If I'm out and about, I can't, just pull out a Post-it note,
True. I used that so much in college, it wasn't even funny. So right now I'm taking a break from Evernote because it reminds me of school. So,
and then you can add images and stuff like that to your notes, and email the stuff to yourself and all kind of good stuff. So, yes, Nashay, I love Evernote.
Hey, all right.
That's awesome. Where are you guys podcasting from?
I'm Australian. I'm in Chicago.
Okay.
And I am in Maryland, which is right outside of DC.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah.
My husband would move us to Chicago in a heartbeat. He is in love with Chicago. And I said, I don't think that I would survive without being made fun of every single minute for this Southern accent. Because my husband doesn't have one at all. He was born and raised here in Tennessee and does not have a Southern accent. And I came out, which I grew up on a farm. So here I am. Yeah.
The final question. What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
Oh, what a great question. What a greatly hard question. If I knew I could not fail, this is going to sound so hilarious. It is one of my dreams. I love to sing. I almost went to Belmont University in Nashville for music production, but I would love to. If I was doing anything besides what I'm doing right now, which I'm truly living my dream, I would love to be a backup singer at the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
cool.
That's also on my bucket list. I have several friends who perform there. We actually have a lot of country music stars come in here. Since we're so close to Nashville, we have several wives of country music stars that'll come this way. But I would love to sing backup at the Grand Ole Opry. I am a classic Tennessean. I love the Grand Ole Opry, and we go at least once a year. And I know that that's a very silly answer, but it's on my bucket list for sure. One more thing that I'd love to do, and we're actually wanting to work on this with our business, is I would love to host a women's conference every year sponsored by Poppies, and just have something to empower women and encourage women, and maybe have like a dinner and a show and a motivational speaker and a band or something like that. But that's always been a dream of mine, to have some kind of empowering women's conference and, just reach out to people, make a difference with this business. So that's another thing.
You should. I feel like it's a lot of hard work, but it's easier than you think. And listening to several like business podcasts, it's definitely doable. Like, especially once you get people to commit early, when you find the space and then figure out the logistics of it, you'd be surprised and how many people like that will buy into that idea and would love it. Yeah. So you should definitely do it.
Yeah, we've kind of are trying to get it in the works, because I think that so many women just need a boost, just to know that they're loved and they're beautiful, and that they can do anything. So that's what we really want to show people. And I don't want my business just to be a place to buy clothes. I want it to be something that changes people's lives. So that's what we're wanting to do with that. And I think it's very possible. And I really want to get to work on it after I talk to you ladies.
Hey, go
so
for
it makes me excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and if I find any information, I'll be sure to email it to you.
Totally. I would love that.
Yeah, because I gotta think of which. I would listen to so many podcasts, like literally I can't keep track. But if I think of the episodes I listen to, I'll shoot them to you.
Please do. I would love it. I'd love for all of us to keep in touch.
And then where can the listeners find you?
We have our full schedule on our website under Airstream on poppies10.com. And if you're on with us on Instagram, if you follow us on Facebook, you'll definitely know where we are. And hopefully by the end of this week, you'll be able to shop online with us. So you'll be able to access us worldwide. So that'll be great. We're super excited about that. So Poppies, POPPIESTN.com is where you can find us.
Perfect. Thanks again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Hey, I am so honored. You ladies are just a breath of fresh air, and I'm so excited that you had me on the show today.
Well, so pleasant, so awesome, so humble, but really wish her all the success. What's interesting is, for example, like you're in Chicago, right? And opening a store in Chicago is so much harder because the competition is so fierce and probably the rent is so crazy expensive too. It makes it a little bit harder to do it. So I think, she is like in the right market, in the right place with the right hustle. And she is taking kind of good advantage of it and using really good, solid business tips to make it happen. And that's, wow, it's inspiring.
It is. And I know she started off, getting her degree to be a teacher, but her passions have led her elsewhere, but at least she has something to fall back on as well if she needs to, do some extra hustling if need be.
But what's great about going to school to be a teacher, like as she gets more and more successful, her and her husband, but in particular her, she can teach other women how to open up their own businesses. How do you run a brick and mortar? How do you run a mobile boutique? If she actually does that conference too, I would think like being a teacher, it teaches you how to like plan certain things, right? So she's going to almost have like a lesson plan for this event and really probably create some amazing content. So even though she isn't a teacher right now, I think her degree will help her in the future. I can't wait to look up too this area insurance, because for those at least in the South, this might be an option. I've never heard of it on the East Coast before, but who knows? And it sounds like they're like full coverage, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, but any company you go with, they would have to be full coverage, right? Like, why would you get like partial coverage?
I feel like I don't know if I read it somewhere or if one of us like talking to people, but I think sometimes people get what they can get just to be somewhat covered.
Yeah. Well,
which isn't ideal, but I guess it's better than being not insured at all.
Yeah, but
just
and for the record, folks, we don't recommend going out without the proper insurance policies.
Well, there's some people that are out there too without insurance at all. I think there's people out there without insurance, partial insurance, right? Because maybe either their insurance company doesn't offer everything, or maybe they just couldn't afford everything.
What is that? Is that like riding dirty?
Yeah, that's riding real dirty. Yes. Anyway, I just hope that people got a lot out of this because, from her talking about all the craft fairs she's gone to. So even if you can't afford your mobile boutique yet, hit them craft fairs. Anybody can sign up for a craft fair. You've got merchandise. You're good with people. Get out there, sell stuff, right? Save your money and then get your boutique. And then once you get your boutique, you hustle. You hit like all the festivals you can. You make connections. Exactly. And we talked about it briefly, but with social media too, I think she really strategically figured out a way to get a lot of followers. Because if they didn't double until the last year, those giveaways or gift cards or, like me on Facebook and get 15% off, like those different incentives that she mentioned, genius. It's like you hear about this and you hear about it working, but I think a lot of times people don't put forth the effort to do it in order to get more likes. I'll admit myself, I'm kind of lazy. I think I've done one giveaway.
Wow.
And then I've never had a sale.
Wow.
Not even for the holidays. But it's just something to think about.
But we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Do us a solid. Go to iTunes. Leave us an exemplary rating and review. And if you need to check us out on social media, we are FFT_official_ on Twitter and Instagram, and Find a Fashion Truck on Facebook.
Yes. And really, please, folks, if you're not driving, just take 1 second. And if you're on an iPhone or iPad, please just open the Apple Podcast app, and it takes 2 seconds to leave a quick rating. If you're on Android, you would have to do it from the browser and go to iTunes. Just go to startafashiontruck.com/iTunes, and it'll take you to our iTunes page, and you can rate us right on there. So this would really, really help us out. So I just wanted to reiterate that. And have an amazing morning, noon, and night.
Thanks for parking here.